Okay, we're live. Let me just see. I want to see if we can hear the music. The music, 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 music. Why doesn't my channel come up? My channel, live. Just want to see if we can hear the music in the background. Why doesn't my channel, live? Just want to see if we can hear the music in the background. Yeah, I guess you cannot hear the music in the background, so I might as well not play the music in the background. No music in the background. So I named this stream. The only way vegans can win debates is by cheating. So I was listening to a debate between Andrew from the Crucible and some vegan guy. And Andrew was mopping the floor with this guy just by asking the question. So the vegan said, "Oh, it's unethical to eat meat." So Andrew said, "What's your evidence or what's your argument?" And obviously, the vegan did not have an argument. I mean, in my experience, I debated vegans here and there, and my experience is that they play games. They certainly don't want to have a conversation about veganism, about ethics. That's certainly not, they're not interested in that. They're only interested in playing word games and winning, by any means necessary. And anyway, I wanted to maybe think about it. So, veganism is very similar to theism. So we used to have in the beginning of the internet, in the beginning, I guess like 10 years ago, we used to have a lot of debates. 10 years ago? Yeah, approximately 10 years ago, we used to have a lot of debates. The atheists against the theists, the Christians, and the Jews and the Muslims. But there was mainly Christians. So we used to have a lot of debates, and the atheists basically used to mop the floor with the theists, with the Christians, until basically the Christians ran away. And then the feminists came in and filled the void and not debating, but started playing games, and then Gamergate, I guess, and the rest is history. The internet was never the same. But in the beginning, when it was the Wild West internet, so and everybody could debate everyone and make fun of each other, so the atheists used to mop the floor with the Christians because the Christians obviously don't have an argument. I mean, what's the argument? It's I don't happen to be one of those atheists, but when an atheist debates a Christian, the Christian doesn't really have anything. All the Christian arguments, they're nonsense compared to the atheist arguments. Anyway, so 10 years later, we have vegans now replacing the Christians. But it's the same thing. Christians and vegans are the same. Veganism is a religion. It's total nonsense. It's based on nothing. It's just people wanting to believe something, wanting to believe that animals have rights, and it's something, deeper. People are unhappy with just being atheists. Even atheists. I mean, interestingly enough, veganism is the religion of atheists. Let me just see if there's anybody in the chat. Short live, no. There's no way to refresh. Oh, that's terrible. So if I look at my channel on my iPhone, I can't see. There's no refresh button, so I can only see the previous. This is just terrible. Just completely, absolutely terrible. Okay, let me just have it up so I can see what's going on. Okay. Is this the only way vegan? Yeah, okay, it's good. And it was good. Anyway, so I mean, so atheism historically, so atheism won, and as soon as atheism won, it basically split. First, we had the feminists coming out of atheism. The feminists were atheists, were in the atheist community, and they came out, and the atheist community split in two, and they called themselves Atheism Plus. That was Atheism Plus. And then the feminists were also destroyed by the atheists. And then you had the social justice warriors, and they've also been destroyed. And then now you have the vegans. The vegans are putting up a fight, but it's the same thing. It's atheism consistently destroying its enemies, and after winning, atheism splits in two. So now we have the atheists against the atheist vegans, but at this point it's like it's no longer the atheists. It happens that the vegans basically took over completely the atheist community, and now what you have is the atheists slash vegans, and they're debating against Christians. So it's incredible. I mean, the evolution of the debates is just unbelievable. And now I find myself in this. I used to always be the atheist in all of its evolutionary cycles. I was always a grounded atheist, and now I have to debate vegans because I find vegans to be wrong. And the Christians who are debating the vegans, I'm with them, but I'm not a Christian. I'm not. I'm an atheist. So anyway, so it's very fascinating. Anyway, so vegans, like their predecessors, the social justice warriors and the feminists and the old generation Christians, they could never win. They always lost every debate. They used to always. I mean, you could have a good debater. A good debater can win against a terrible debater. So you could have outliers. Sometimes you could have sometimes Christians defeating atheists. It could theoretically happen. Or a feminist could win against an atheist, or a social justice warrior could win against an atheist. These things could happen. But in general, a normal debater on the side of atheism would fairly easily mop the floor, even with the best Christian debater, the best social justice warrior debater, the best you know, the best I don't want anyway. So So, I mean, you could, I mean, if you represent a terrible idea, if you are the lawyer or the debater representing a terrible idea, if you're a good debater, you could still win against a bad debater representing a good idea. So, but in the long run, you just need a good enough debater representing the good idea against an excellent debater representing the bad idea. And the good idea will win because it's much easier to defend a good idea than it is to defend a bad idea. Now, veganism is a bad idea. It doesn't make sense. I mean, it's just a terrible idea. It leads to self-destruction. Veganism is an altruistic ideal. And veganism belongs to a family of altruistic philosophies. Altruistic philosophies are philosophies that claim that the other is more important than the self. So in veganism, the animals are more important than the self. In communism, the poor or the society is more important than the self. In Christianity, um, I guess the poor also are more important, or who knows what. Like this, the self should always sacrifice. So we should always sacrifice ourselves for some greater good. In basically every ideology, this happens. The only ideology in which the self is the most important ideal is basically Ayn Rand's objectivism. And it's pretty incredible that a woman, came up with this idea. Anyway, so, and I guess I'm an objectivist. So in this philosophy and objectivism, the self is more important than anything else in the universe. Everybody should take care of themselves, period. And after you take care of yourself, your needs, your happiness, then you can take care of, I guess, the happiness of the rest of the universe. But always make sure you are as happy as can be. And everything you do should be in reference to your happiness, relative to your happiness. Never sacrifice your happiness to make someone else happy. It doesn't make any sense. If you put someone else's happiness before you, then you might as well kill yourself. And that's basically what happens in every ideology, especially in altruistic ideologies, especially in veganism. So vegans are actually suicidal, whether they admit it or not, or environmentalism that says that the animals, the planet, nature is more important than humans. Humans are a virus or something like that. If you are the virus, then why don't you kill yourself? But that is where it leads. So all the altruistic religions and ideologies lead to self-destruction. So that's why veganism is a terrible ideology. I mean, if you really are a vegan, if you truly are vegan, if you truly care for the animals more than yourself, then you should turn yourself into a meal for the animals. The fact that they don't do it, that's because they're not fully committed, because they see they stop halfway in their ideology. They're not fully committed to their ideology because they're hypocrites. They claim that they care for nature, but they don't. They just want to pretend. They're just virtue signaling. Anyway, so the only thing I came to say is that vegans cannot win debates, whereas um, but it's not so clear that anyone can win against an atheist. I've heard many debates of people against vegans. I've never heard anyone crush a vegan. So what I did hear, I mean, it's not so clear why. I mean, once I heard Vegan Gains, he said, I totally crushed this guy because why did he crush that guy? Because he literally took the position of the Nazis. So since his opponent took the position of the Nazis, then obviously Vegan Gains won the debate, which is obviously ridiculous. You don't win a debate because your opponent took the position of the Nazis. I mean, you win a debate if the question is how do you win a debate? But just because your opponent agrees with the Nazis about something, that doesn't mean anything. Who says that the Nazis were wrong? What who's to say? Who's the judge, right? So vegans, if they are atheist, which usually they are because they are atheist, so they don't believe in objective morality. I guess they call themselves moral realists. So they don't believe in objective morality. So there's nothing wrong with the Nazis. There's nothing wrong with whatever the Nazis did. So just by agreeing with the Nazis, you don't lose a debate. The Nazis maybe thought that 1 + 1 is 2. And you might also think that 1 + 1 is 2. That does not, so you agree with the Nazis. Okay, so that does not mean that you lose because 1 + 1 = 2 is the position of the Nazis. No. You are allowed to hold the same position as the Nazis, and it has nothing to do with winning or losing a debate. Anyway, that's all I had to say about that. How long has this stream been? 18 minutes. As soon as I hang up, people are gonna come to the chat and say, hey, please don't hang up. Yeah, every time. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hit me up in the comment section. Tell me what you think. And we'll see you in the next episode. Have a great night.